So, students, in the next part, we shall study about the Brideshwar temple and its features and characteristics. Students, during the Chola, built a number of temples. The gateway of the temple was called Gopuram. So, this is a Gopuram. The main shrine was known as a Garbhagriha. Here, the image of gods and goddesses were kept. These images were made either of stone or bronze. The mandapa or the audience hall was a place where the people gathered for prayers. It was built in front of the main shrine. So temples were used as for the political and social work and educational even purposes also, because the Prohit used to sit and teach the students here in the temples. Even important fairs also took place in these temples. The chief features of Chola temples are their massive virmanas or towers and spacious courtyard. The best example of temple is Brideshwara, also known as a Rajeshwara temple, dedicated to Shiva. So it is located at Thanjavur and built by the Chola king, Rajaraya I. It is of the best specimen of Dravidian style architecture. The main structure of the temple has a great Virmana or tower which rises height of 190 feet. It is crowned by a massive dome consisting of single block of stone. That means a big single block of stone used to be used here, 25 feet high and weighing about 80 tons. So huge stones were used to make such temples. The shrine house has gigantic Shiva Lingam cut in monolithic rock, okay, about 8.87 meter high. The temple has many structures such as Nandi Pavilion, pillared portico, and large assembly hall. Brideshwar temple is the finest monument of a splendid period of southern India history and the most beautiful specimen of Tamil architecture. So that was all about the sources, about the inscription found during the Chola rulers, and about the Brideshwara temple. Now, students, we shall study about the not about the political history, but straightway we shall move to the administration. The Chola administration. The Chola system of administration was highly organized and efficient. The king was the pivot of administration, and all the authority rested in his hands. So, like no present, we have central government and then government in the states and government in the cities and the villages. In the similar way, the government was decentralized. The king was the most important person in the Chola administration, as all authority was vested in him, but he had a council of ministers to advise him. Then the king often went on tours in order to keep check on the administration. The officers were went and paid by giving them assignments revenue bearing lands. The princes were associated with the ruling sovereigns and actively employed in peace and war. The central government looked after external defense, internal peace, and order. So, further, this central government was divided into provincial government. Like we have today, we have in the modern period, we have states. Okay, but earlier, the whole empire was divided into provinces. The Chola was divided into mandalams or provinces. These were further divided into Vulanadu and Nadu. Princes of the royal family were appointed as the governors of provinces. Then there was a local self government, like we have in the city, urban government and the panchayat, local village panchayat. So Cholas were good administrators. They believed in local self-government. In many of the villages, the administration was carried out not by the government officials but by the villages themselves. These villages had three types of village assembly. Okay, so that you can see here, name the Ur, this Sabha, and the Nagarama. Okay, further, it has been explained that Ur was the common type of assembly of the villages where the land was held by all classes of people who were therefore members of the local assembly. Then there was Sabha, which was an exclusively Brahmin assembly of the village where all the land belonged to the Brahmins. After one or two lines, the villages who owned land were chosen by the vote to the council. The life and the work of the villages were discussed in these councils. Then there is one important line here. The temple in the Chola kingdoms was the center of the social activity. It was not only place of worship, but was also a place where people gathered together. Some temples owned huge lands and participated in inland and overseas trade. The lands